Welcome to Rebel Speak and Be Encouraged. Today I'm reading out of Psalm 20, and I was kind of just this morning in my quiet time, opened scripture, and this honestly kind of just jumped, kind of like was pulsating, Psalm 20. And I want to read it into our circumstances, and it's a Psalm of David. And I want to kind of pay attention to the pronouns that you're going to see you, you're going to see he, and you're going to see we. And there's a way that David's speaking on behalf of others. There's a way that David's speaking on behalf of the community as a we. There's also a way that David is comfortable in his authority. He's comfortable in his authority, and he's comfortable advocating on behalf of his own personhood. And something I felt in prayer this morning is just for us not to be afraid of our ego. Anything that's convinced you that there's something about ego that's bad, and we can think of situations and people that have inflated ego, but so often inflated ego is so much brokenness in the midst of it that it's not a real thing. And there's something about us standing in our personhood and knowing who we are in God and knowing who God is in us and knowing confidently that we've been created, like it says it, for good works, good purposes. You've been fashioned, I've been fashioned specifically for this time and space, this season, this moment that we're in. That's not a few. That's not a few. Many of us know that kind of thinking from Esther, where she's a few, she's one, she's chosen, she's selected. We are all chosen. We are all selected. We are all seen. The hairs on all of our heads are with great intention counted. We were created unto purpose, unto meaning. This is kind of this whole ontology, our createdness, our purpose, our meaning. It's not exceptional, right, out of the given. It's not the rare. It's not some have the invitation to be chosen. No, all are. All are. You and I, we are all chosen. And I want us to kind of pay attention as we read Psalm 20, David speaking, and how we understand and perceive ourselves well, that we can carry out our life with intentionality and purpose, because we live in a time where I just see the enemy pulling the carpet out from under us, belittling and demeaning. Right? There's a battle over personhood and purposehood, fulfillment. There's a battle there. And the cross has won that battle and spoken, but there's something about us stepping in with confidence. Like even if we kind of feel like a joke, it's like I'm stepping forward because you say so. Because you say so. We fished all night, but because you say so during the day. Fishing's better at night, but here you are in broad daylight saying, cast that net, because you say so. For years now, God's given me, when I'm very discouraged and thinking something's wrong with our journey. It just hasn't quite manifested in the ways I thought it would. And just right there in Scripture, cast your nets on the right side. And it's like, okay, where are the fish? And there's so many fish in my life, but there's been often for me a kind of a fear that we weren't good stewards of our gifting, because there was a way that I felt our gifts should be kind of a fulcrum, like doing more versus really living in the midst of my life and delighting in the goodness, right? That deliciousness of life, and seeing the deliciousness of life as purpose-filled. There was better vision for that in the 1950s and 1960s. There was better understanding philosophically about meaning being precious in the lived outness of it, in the goodness of being alive. We're very productivity driven now. And that's fine. We get to speak to God from our heart about what we're yearning to see. But the main thing is that we be good stewards of our own ego. God created a self when God created you. God didn't create what's that called? A funnel. You're not a funnel that other lives flow through. You're not a funnel that God's purposes flow through. Okay, you're not that. That's kind of a type of agnosticism where somehow it's why some people don't let people say, oh, it's not me, it's God. It's like, no, God created you to be you. God created you to be you, and it's through you that the beauty and goodness that comes distinctly from you happens. You're created on purpose for the beauty that is you. And all the good and right of God that flows through you is why you were created, unto God's delight, unto God's glory, unto God's glory. Okay. In times of trouble, David speaking here, Psalm 20, in times of trouble, may Yahweh respond to your cry. Okay, I just feel this. I feel this for you. Wherever you are, and whatever, I don't know, I just feel this. I feel strongly that there are people in the midst of circumstances and uncertainty, and you don't know the way forward. And I'm speaking this especially over you today. In times of trouble, may Yahweh respond to your cry. May the God of Israel keep you safe from all harm. And this may is not a wishing may. It's not I saw a little gif that a friend sent that was like, oh please pick me. No, that's not what this may. This is a statement of blessing. This is a statement that only a person in authority can make. This may requires authority. This is the authority that a king can walk in. When this is someone with authority speaking, with the authority to bless you, they are blessing you. With the authority to speak blessing into your, they're not saying good luck. David's not saying good luck. I hope it works out okay. No, he's actually proclaiming a blessing. He's proclaiming a blessing into your life. In times of trouble, I ask Yahweh to respond to your cry. And in my authority, in my position and my authority, I just want that to be heard a little better. May you be chosen. No, I have the authority to speak this reality in, and I'm doing it. May the God of Israel keep you safe from all harm. May he send you help from his sanctuary and strengthen you from Zion or Jerusalem. May he strengthen you. This is a beautiful prayer. And it's a statement of protection. And it's a statement of someone with the authority to say it, speaking it into the lives of the people that he leads. I'm asking God, as God's special envoy, as with all the authority that I have, I'm going to repeat these again. In times of trouble, may the Lord Yahweh respond to your cry. May the God of Israel keep you safe from all harm. May he send you help from his sanctuary, from heaven, his sanctuary, and strengthen you from the temple, from Jerusalem, where his presence is. May he remember all your gifts, all the ways that you've been faithful. I think sometimes we don't understand how deeply God cherishes those little yeses from when we were little children. Those little moments as a little child that you said yes to God. He remembers all those gifts. This again isn't saying, may you be lucky. He's saying he does. He does. He does. I bless you with that remembrance because Yahweh remembers all your gifts. And may he look favorably on your burnt offerings. He does. All the ways that you've worshiped God with every little ounce of yourself in those random moments where you were magnanimous, those moments where you were caught up in the goodness of God and magnanimous in response to God. That's all recorded. It's all remembered. It's the lens through which God sees you most. May he grant you your heart's desire and fulfill all your plans. Isn't this a wonderful prayer? May you feel it. May you know it. May you feel it, and may you know it. In this moment, whatever the trajectory seems to be right now, may you just take a moment and pause and raise your hands and receive God's abundant goodness. That the desires of your heart, the plans that God put in you, the plans of purpose in your soul for those you love, for yourself, for people groups, for situations that, I just feel the word calumny, that's out of Tell of Despero, where there's been betrayal. Storylines where there's been betrayal and you're like, God, I that sickens me. It could be on behalf of someone you've never even met. But something about that storyline of betrayal sickens you. This is what we're praying into. May Yahweh grant your heart's desire and fulfill all your plans. the things that you are seeking. May we shout. Now here's the switch. When God moves, may we shout for joy when we hear of your victory. That could be that may we shout when we hear of Yahweh's victory. I have a good strong sense, but I'm just going to read it today. May we, the body of Christ, shout when we hear of Yahweh's victory in your life being made evident in a way that none can deny. Flying banners to honor our God for his goodness. May we all be so invested in one another's lives that when that thing that you've been yearning and hoping for happens, we're all shouting praise to Yahweh and flying banners to our God. Wow. May Yahweh answer all your prayers. All your prayers. I just speak that. May Yahweh answer all your prayers. May he bring to fruition all that's just in there. And it's his delight. I feel to say that it's God's delight. And there might be places in your life where, I've said this before, but I feel it strongly, where you've been shamed for those desires. And so you're kind of confused about the nature of the desires because there's been shame spoken of those. And no, those desires, those yearnings, God's with you. God has the complete capacity to cleanse the parts of our dreams and yearnings that are broken. We don't have to be afraid. We don't have to say, oh, there's a little bit of mud in this dream and yearning, so no, God will never meet it. No. Keep that ego strength. God's for you. Nothing can stand against you. And in the process, I assure you that the things that need to be washed will get washed. The parts where ego's not healthy will be brought right round to good health. Yeah. That's just a given. We don't have to be afraid of our ego. Our ego, we were created in the likeness of God. We're meant to be confident in the goodness of our creation. God spoke it good. In fact, when we hide and devalue, like that parable of the talents, it's just not good. We're not meant to hide and devalue and say, that's what I'm just only worth that. No. God made you real big, bright, beautiful, bold gold, worthy to be seen, meant to be seen. No distortions that you're not, it's my fault, it's my lack. No. Your beauty is abundant, it's vibrant. Now I know that Yahweh saves his anointed king. This is David. He's that anointed king. Now I know that God's faithful to me. He's been through something, and now I know that God's faithful to me. He's standing on the promises, that old song. He will answer him from his holy heaven. He's speaking in the third person about himself, not because he's broken, but because he's king and he's responsible. Now I know that Yahweh saves his anointed king. He will answer him from his holy heaven. God speaks to me from his perfection, from his completely other non-worldness, holy heaven, and he'll rescue him by his great power. Now I, David, know this, that you're faithful to me as king, that you're with me and for me, and you will rescue me in the hour of greatest need. Wow. Those nations, some nations boast of their armies and weapons. This is such a great, I love this. Okay, there's nations out there and they're super confident. They're super confident that everything about their life is juxtaposed just perfectly or set up perfectly, or, like they're in that season and everything's good and right. And they're in this powerful moment of victory and they've handled right. Folks that have done everything just right, by the book, just right. And they boast in that. They're boasting in their just rightness. But we boast in Yahweh, our God. I'm not boasting in my crossed T's, and I'm not boasting in my dotted I's, and I'm not boasting in my profound wisdom and intuition that, wow, all of a sudden some people wake up and they've just had so much success and they just know why they're so successful. No. The thing I'm boasting in, it's Yahweh, my God, our God. And I just take some time with these pronouns. He, speaking of himself as king, We identifying with the people. You, the ones that he can speak on behalf of. It's very beautiful to me. Some nations boast of their armies and weapons, but we boast in Yahweh, our God. There's David on behalf of the people. Those nations will fall down and collapse. When your life, no matter how much luck you've had, when it's built on anything other than the truth of God, the God that created you, the God that breathed life into you, the God that made you, fashioned you for goodness in his image, everything else runs out. No matter how long or delusional the success, success can be delusional when you're trusting in things that aren't real. But here's the fact. Those nations will fall down and collapse. They'll know an end. But we will rise up and stand firm. Regardless of what we walk through, redemption is our storyline. Redemption. We will rise up. And as we rise up, we'll stand firm. We will stand firm. And there's that. That was yesterday and that, or Friday, and that's today, Monday. Stand firm, Ephesians 6. We will stand firm because of the character of God, because of the cross of Jesus that brings us into that powerful yet intimate relationship of Father and Son. Give victory to our King, O Yahweh. Respond to our cry for help. That's David speaking on behalf of David. He's in a situation. It started out in times of trouble. He's in a circumstance. And he's speaking victory because of God's faithfulness. Not wishing, not hoping, not clicking his heels 3 times. Not getting the algorithm of salvation right. No, it's God's goodness. It's that we as a people are worshiping the one true God, who's the God that redeems and saves and puts things right in the midst of things being very wrong. And whatever circumstance you're in, whatever in times of trouble you're in, needing safety from harm, Yahweh's with you. God's got your back, got your forward, got your right, got your left, got your above, got your below. Hold out your hands. Beckon. Invite him in deeper. Say, God, I invite your meaning. I invite your salvation into my life. I invite the work of the cross. I surrender. We're not working a deal, but sometimes in our life we feel like, wow, God, I've been really more than I understood relying on false gods. I've had moments, very strong moments, where my heart just wasn't right. And it's so beautiful just to say, God, Jesus, here's this very wrong heart, hard-heartedness, wrong-headedness. Here it is. And I thank you that you fashioned me for salvation. You fashioned me to be one saved by you. And I thank you for your salvation. And I want to speak God's mercy into every aspect of your life, where you need mercy most. I speak the goodness and the faithfulness and the redemption of Yahweh, the God of the universe, through Jesus Christ, his Son. That in his death and resurrection, you and I have forgiveness of sin and abundance of life, salvation, joy, intimacy, purpose, meaning. We're not alone. You and I, we are not marked by our brokenness, and we're not marked by the way others reject us. Our rejection, the world might not see you right now, correctly. And in that place, from that place, in that situation where the world would have you be subordinated, it is God's joy and pleasure to lift you up in ways that, like Joseph, you feel the intensity of your purpose and the world's mocking you and you don't know what to do. And I just want to say, no, there's going to be a moment of satisfaction in your life, and it's going to be intense, because it's going to be in that moment when you have that satisfaction where they are subordinated to you. It's actually going to be just like Joseph, where righteousness is so deep in you at that moment that you can only say, no, this is for God's glory. You're not even mad at the sin that's been frowning down upon you. You're no longer, I'm not saying now that you're there. There's something about your situation and the arrangement you're in that just you feel stifled by the sin of others around you. There's an unfairness. The world's trying to put you in a position of disadvantage, and you can feel Christ in you, that hope of glory, just rising up and just saying, there's a frustration, and it's okay because sin, but don't, sin. We can be angry without sinning. And we can say, no, I'm standing up in righteousness. But I want to say that like Joseph, this thing that in you that's meant to be lifted up, and you can feel it. And you're hearing the words of disadvantage, and you're seeing the wrong, the error-filled judgment that trying to push you into a position of disadvantage. And you're standing up strong and tall and purpose-filled. And you will see those other voices, those voices that are wrong. Those voices that are trying to posture themselves above you. There will be a moment in time where they're beneath you. And in that moment, everything will be so right that you will have compassion, because you will have seen that God did more than just, the storyline's more than just about you. It's about righteousness. I'm going to say it this way. It's about lies being exposed in the land so that righteousness can spring forth. Be blessed.